Hello dear viewer, it's been a while since I've made one of these videos. I didn't do one last month because I just didn't get a whole lot of time to play PlayStation 2 games because I had a bunch of other strange games that I was working my way through. But I got a little bit caught up. I say a little bit caught up because here are the games I didn't get through for this video. So these are going to have to wait until next month or the month after, depending on how things go. We'll see. So this is the stack we're working through for this collection update. I did save the game that I think is the most interesting for last, so stick it out, check that one out. There's plenty of other good stuff in here too, though, and not all of it I have video for because I can't play some of these yet. So let's get to it. So first let's start with some import games. I'm not going to count these towards my collection total because, you know, like I'm going for a North American collection, so these won't really be counted in the total, but these are games that I found that I thought were interesting, so I'm going to talk about them real quick. First is Galaxy Angel 2, which when I looked at the back of this game, I thought this was going to be like a side-scrolling shooter, which I figured would be okay to play, like since I don't speak Japanese. It turns out this is a strategy RPG, and I love strategy RPGs, but I don't think I'm going to be able to play it because you're really going to need some language skills to get through that. I don't know, I'm going to give it a shot at some point probably. And then this game is Golf Paradise. It should be manageable. Every golf game I've ever played plays about the same. You pick a club, you aim your shot, you use the power meter to time it right and get it as far as you can or as into the area where you need it. And I think that that's how this plays, so hopefully when I get the ability to play Japanese games, this one should be manageable. So I look forward to playing this at some point. On to other games that I'm not going to be able to play, we have Totally Spies. It's sealed. I bought this one sealed because I didn't want to play it. But then I discovered that it's actually a kind of a co-op Mario Party style of game, so I kind of wish I could play it. I mean, not really. I mean, it does look pretty bad, but, you know, I don't know. I'm tempted. Because I can't play it, I want to play it now. That's how it goes. Oh, during my research, I found this question on Game FAQs that I thought was funny. My older bro wants to know if there's a cheat to get the Totally Spies naked in this game. He said he played it in Europe and there was a cheat to do it. I mean, he's a total perv, but I promised I'd ask. I don't want to know. But it's important to him. You know. I'll give you his email because I don't even want to know how. You guys are gross. I would never even use a code like that. In Europe, it's totally okay. It's not weird over there. This one I don't have any captures for because of, you know, music stuff and because it's Guitar Hero. Everybody knows how to play Guitar Hero. This version, it comes with 3 discs. Well, it's a 3-pack, of course. It comes with Guitar Hero 1, Guitar Hero 2, and Guitar Hero Encore. Rock the 80s. I'm surprised Guitar Hero 3 isn't in here, but they must have really wanted to put out one of these sweet 3-packs before that game came out, so I don't know. And another 3-pack added to the collection, the Metal Gear Solid, the Essential Collection. The most interesting thing about this is it has the original Metal Gear Solid. It's a PlayStation game, but it's in a PlayStation 2 case. Look at that, it's got both discs, and they're even the black PS1 discs. It's interesting. The only real big difference besides that case is the artwork is different on the front. As far as what's inside, it's actually more of a condensed version. Some of the instruction manuals are smaller, and some of the extra features aren't really there that were there in the originals or in other collector's editions. Like, for example, I have the Metal Gear Solid 3 Substance Limited Edition. It comes with an exclusive limited edition Metal Gear Solid 3 theater disc. That's not in that one. It's not in the 3-pack. But then again, it's a special edition rather than a 3-pack, so get what you get. The next game on our list is Tomb Raider, the Angel of Darkness. You know, I've never been a fan of the Tomb Raider games. There's nothing wrong with them, they're just not my jam. They're too slow and deliberate for me. I sort of feel this way about Resident Evil as well. I want to have the freedom to run and jump around, maneuvering the terrain at my own pace. Games that have you slowly shimmying across ledges or climbing ladders at a snail's pace drive me up the wall. Having said that, I'd still take this game over loads of discount titles found on the PS2. The only standard JRPG on today's list is Atelier Iris 2, the Azoth of Destiny. Side note, Azoth is a real word. It's another term for the element mercury as used in alchemy, because it's an RPG built on alchemy. I didn't get far into this game, just far enough to show off some combat. I harbor a sort of grudge against the Atelier Iris games. You see, this game was released by Nipponichi Software America back when they were a new company and releasing turn-based strategy games like Disgaea, Phantom Brave, Lapicel Tactics, and Makai Kingdom. So after releasing loads of games that I loved, I was willing to buy anything that they sold, and then they released the first Atelier Iris game, a watery JRPG. Maybe this series of games is just fine, I don't know. It wasn't a strategy game, and I was super let down by it, and I just sort of get automatically bummed out whenever I see one of the titles in this series because it was the beginning of the end for NIS releasing the games I loved here in the States. They still release new Disgaea games, but they've pretty much abandoned strategy games at this point. I wish there was a better market here for these games. Makai Kingdom is amazing. I need to go back and play some more of that. I had always heard that this was a bad game, but I was not prepared for this. First, check out the weird graphics. This does switch back to a sort of normal SpongeBob off and on, but this feels way out of place. Then there's the voices.
Hey SpongeBob, let's see if you got what it takes to beat the great Piston Patrick.
The first time I heard Patrick's voice, I thought it was Mr. Krab. Ugh, I don't like that. And then there's stage 3. I don't think this stage is winnable. I absolutely hate when a game has you play a stage or a boss that's unbeatable. If it's short and to the point, then it's fine, whatever, but this is a full-length stage that you play for no reason other than to move the plot along. I hate this so much. Also, there's SpongeBob's weird dance thing. This game isn't super terrible from what I've played, but at best it feels lazy and uninspired. Nickelodeon is usually better about their video games, and I think they realized that this game was a mistake as they later switched game development companies, and we got SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, which is a fantastic game. And now Dead to Rights. This is a first-person shooter game with a story. One of the early moments of the game has you playing a quick-time, exotic dancer game. It's not a bad game, it feels a little bit repetitive and the cover system doesn't work as well as I'd like, but I'm sure if I had this game when it was new, I'd have played the crap out of it. I did an entire review of this game that you can go back and watch, but the short version is this. It's a lot of fun, but since the online play doesn't exist anymore, it's a shell of its former glory. Some of the playable unit types are nearly useless in the single-player campaign. I'm curious how this holds up as a local multiplayer game though. Next time I have friends over, I may give it a shot. And of course there's the Barbie game, Barbie Horse Adventures. Compared to Barbie Island Princess, this is a Grand Theft Auto quality game, but that's only because Island Princess is one of the worst games I've ever seen. In Horse Adventures, Barbie and friends are visiting a horse ranch, but because of a storm, the horses escape and Barbie does the right thing by volunteering to go out and find the missing horses. It's a sort of collect-a-thon style of game that's not bad. I didn't play far into this game, and I think that other parts of the game may not hold up as well, but as far as horse riding platforming goes, the controls feel solid and the missions are fun. This game is at least a C, possibly a B. Maybe I'll give it another shot sometime. Atari Anthology. It's a load of Atari games all on one disc. I didn't look around too much because I already knew Adventure was on here. Adventure has a lot of rage-inducing fun, and I highly recommend it if you've never given it a shot. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's exactly what it claims to be, a whole bunch of Atari games. Another retro game pack compilation that made it into my collection is Intellivision Lives. I assume you have to say it like that with that exclamation mark there. The list of games wasn't as impressive as the Atari Anthology, but I did play a quick round of Reversi. Tied score? I'll take it. I used to play Othello on the NES a lot, so this was nice to see. Othello and Reversi being different names for the same game, that is. The Intellivision had an unusual controller, and the way that this game emulates it is strange, but I'm sure if you need your Intellivision fixed, this game will do it for you. Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga. I also have the second game, but it's sealed. I was a little let down by this game. Don't get me wrong, all the Shin Megami Tensei games I've ever played have been great, but I was hoping this was more like Devil Survivor's strategy style of gameplay. The plot of this game is nice and dark and weird. There's a sort of cannibalism thing that's going on. It's interesting and it leads to fun moral quandaries. Tak, the Great Juju Challenge. I had no idea this was a Nickelodeon game. I thought this was some game company trying to create a new platformer mascot, but the biggest surprise was hearing Patrick Warburton's voice. That guy is in everything. I see Rob Paulson was also a voice in the game. Thank you Nikitos the First for recommending this game. It's a lot of fun so far. I look forward to putting more time into this title. Oh, and before we move on to the next game, this little intro bit made me laugh.
You're in the middle of the Poopanunu People's pig pen, and you're covered with Poopanunu People's pig poo-poo. Oh.
It's a great way to start a game, I love that. Garfield Lasagna World Tour. Sounds like a terrible game, doesn't it? Well, it's not a great game, but it's a lot better than I was expecting it to be. It's mostly a platformer with some other gameplay styles mixed in here and there, but the standout feature in this game is the costumes. There are different outfits that Garfield can wear to give him new abilities, like this hat that gives him the hover ability, or this soccer outfit that lets our favorite lazy cat kick Odie around. I'm glad I gave this game a shot. I really thought this was going to be terrible, but it's a pleasant surprise. Wizardry, Tale of the Forsaken Land. This is a game that I want to play more, but if I hadn't played it for myself, I would have assumed it was awful. Back in the 80s, we had games like this that were RPGs where you would sort of wander first-person mazes and fight monsters, and that made sense back then because it was a sort of quasi-3D world that felt more immersive, but by PlayStation 2 era, we had games like Elder Scrolls Morrowind, so this style of play feels pretty outdated. I'm not a fan of the maze aspect, but everything else from the character creation to the plot and the crafting has my interest piqued. This seems like it might be amazing. I look forward to playing more of this. And now for the final game on today's list. This is a game I have never heard of, nor do I remember seeing it anywhere on a shelf, but someone in a Facebook group mentioned it, so I bought a copy online. The game is Bujingai, The Forsaken City. This is one of those combo fighting style of games with a little bit of magic and a whole lot of parkour. This wall walking and wall jumping stuff is loads of fun, and the battle system is interesting, but what sets this game apart for me is the look. The stages, the characters, and the battles just look marvelous. You know how after seeing an exciting movie at the theater, you walk outside and you just want to discuss everything about it because you're all pumped up and stimulated? This game felt like that. When I turned this game off, I still felt excited, like I just needed to go outside and run or something. I'm not a huge fan of these combo system fighting games, but this is one of the best ones I've ever played. If you're into this genre, give this game a shot. You won't be sorry. This brings my collection up to 460 games out of 2011, which is 22.9% of a complete collection. If you've noticed, that 2011 number is a little bit bigger than the 2009 number from the last video. That's because a couple of games that on today's list weren't on my collection website, PlayStation Age, so I'm adjusting for that. I already did a video review about Star Wars Battlefront 2 before, so if you'd like to see it, I'm going to put the link right here, so go ahead and give that a click, and maybe we'll see you in the next video. Stick around, hit subscribe, that would be cool. You seem like a cool person. I mean, you know, can't really see you, even though you can see me. It's just creepy. But it would be less creepy if you subscribed. Put these games back.